You're listening to Gwatney Unplugged on Newsradio 102.9 KARN with Scott Romine, brought to you by Gwatney Automotive Group.
Hey, Scott here. We're talking with Shawn Maves, Mr. Ontario, about myths in fitness. He writes for Faith and Fitness magazine and has been a competitive bodybuilder. He's done all this awesome stuff. One of the myths, and this one bothered me, I guess, when I was 16, 17-year-old, looking up to all these guys. The myth is, or the understanding is, you can look like guys in these magazines without steroids. And honestly, this was something, Shawn, that it turned me off when I kind of got to realizing this or thinking about this. What is the truth when it comes to that? Can you look like that guy in the magazine and never take the juice?
Truth is stranger than fiction.
Yes. Yes.
But what I wanted to say was, I think some of the ads in those muscle magazines, I don't know if they still do it, but they kind of suggested that, you could look that way just by training really hard and drinking the powders. And when I was 18, I looked up to guys like Sean Ray, Bob Paris, Tom Platz, Mike Quinn, Lou Ferrigno, Incredible Hulk when I was even younger.
Scott Wilson.
All those guys. Scott Wilson, another good physique. All 80s guys, right?
Yes.
I don't want to offend those athletes who've taken pride in not taking steroids.
Sure. I mean, it is out there. There are natural guys, and you can certainly tell a difference. I prefer the classic-looking guys, from the old days. It seems to have went really far these days. Another myth, and man, this is a scary one if you're believing this. Small doses of steroids won't hurt me.
Yeah, that's a dangerous myth. Here's something I want to say, Scott, about that. As soon as you enter this world, the world of bodybuilding and steroids, you're probably going to continue. I know that for a fact because I lived it. The first time I took steroids, for off and on for 2.5 years, the first time I thought it was going to be a one-off. I thought, I think I'll try it. And then it leads to something else. And most guys who, will admit that it generally does develop a habit. And along with it come, the more you take and the more steroids, the longer you take these steroids and growth hormone and all this stuff, the more chance you have of getting the side effects. And the side effects are well known now. We all know, we see guys are coming out with damage to thetheir heart, the liver, and the kidneys, just depending on what severity, what kind of drugs they're using. I got a couple stories for you. Mike Matarazzo, he was a pro bodybuilder, mid 1990s, late 90s. He was a top 10 guy. And unfortunately, Mike passed away when he's 48. But what a brave soul. The last few months of his life, he came out and he said categorically that the steroids were the main reason why he had his health problems. And he wished he would have not used them. So, there are guys who experience some side effects. Some have paid the ultimate price. Not everybody dies taking steroids. Some guys have stopped. Paul DeLay was a pro bodybuilder from Canada. His career ended when his heart stopped right on stage. One of the biggest bodybuilders out there. I'm not sure if you remember that name.
No, I don't remember that. But the list of bodybuilders that have died at a young age is very long.
No, it really is. And, my heart goes out. I don't want to be insensitive to anybody who knows personally or the family or fans. It's a very, very serious topic, and we want to shed some light on it, and hope things get better before they get worse.
That's true. I mean, look at Arnold here in the last couple of weeks. He's had his fourth or fifth heart operation. We lost the Mentzer brothers within days of each other's, and they were like 50 years old.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a sad, tragic story that two brothers passing away so close to each other like that. And today, the risks the bodybuilders are taking are insane, absolutely insane. The top guys today are 50, 60 pounds heavier, and just an insane amount of drugs that they're using. Dallas McCarver, I'm going to mention his name. He passed away when he's 26. Again, my heart goes out to the family, friends, and fans. And when they did an autopsy, his liver, lungs, and his heart were 2 to 3 times larger than normal. I mean, So, I mean, at what point? At what point do we stop?
You got to consider that everything
something's
grows. You know, yeah, your bicep might be growing, but you know, lungs and intestines and heart and all these other things could be enlarging as well.
Yeah, it's true. It's because of the GH and the insulin. Some guys are twinning actually GH with insulin. And when I first found out about the insulin guys are using about 10 years ago, I was a bit surprised because I didn't quite understand why they were doing it. But apparently it kind of supercharges the growth hormone, but along with it comes the side effects. That's why you're seeing the bloated bellies,
yeah,
the expanded waistlines. And Scott, have you noticed that a lot of the pro bodybuilders today at the top, they don't have the striations. You're not seeing the striations in the chest, the quads, biceps, triceps.
Yeah,
and that's because the insulin actually is actually created intramuscular fat, and you're not getting the athletes aren't quite as ripped as they used to be.
that's true. That is very true. They're just bloated looking. Just not a fan. They look like off-season guys, but that's just my opinion. So, how about the myth that steroids are not addictive?
Yeah, that absolutely is another myth. Steroids are not addictive like cocaine or heroin or anything like that, but the addiction comes psychologically. And I can tell you firsthand, because like I said before, I was off and on steroids for 2.5 years during my competition years. And the thing is this, higher levels of depression come when these guys have spent so much time and so much time in the gym and doing all these cycles. And then when they finally come off, a lot of these, some guys have experiencing depression. We see suicidal tendencies. It all starts with this obsession with size. It's almost like anorexia in reverse. And I know because I experienced some of those things. And Scott, what I try to talk to people about on Facebook and Faith and Fitness magazine is the real you is not what you see. The real you is your soul, which is your intellect, your emotion, your will, and the spirit inside of you.
Man, we're pretty much out of time. I sure appreciate you being on the show and discussing these myths, and always great to talk to you. Mr. Ontario, Shawn Maves, and hopefully you'll be back again soon.